Hi there. So you've gone and done it. You've pulled the trigger of buying that lean, mean running machine, the Off the Track Thoroughbred. But you wish you would have known these key things before loading them off that trailer. We're going to take a look into what to expect when you're expecting an Off the Track Thoroughbred. Hi there, I'm Laura, and welcome our guest today, Raina Paucar, retired jockey and ex-racehorse enthusiast. Hi, Raina. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Where are you coming in from today?
I live in Ohio. Actually, today the weather is decent, so
a
nice day.
Good. Raina is a lifelong equestrian, retired professional jockey, and ex-racehorse enthusiast. She's certified in equine massage, PEMF, kinesio tape, and has experience as an equine vet assistant. And she is certified in equine massage. Okay, read that. In addition to hands-on part of her business, she works as a product and business developer, bringing new animal products to market that benefit health and well-being. High vibe equine and drop and slow feeders. So that's one of your new things, right?
Yep.
That's so really exciting. I want to be able to show the webpage for that for sure. So you're coming in from Ohio. Weather is good. And what got you interested in being a jockey?
Oh, what got me there? Well, I started
short
riding.
Version.
Yeah, short version. Started riding horses around 8 years old. I actually started out riding saddle seat, and then I saw a horse going over a jump, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. So then I switched over to hunter jumpers, started doing shows at the age of maybe 9 or 10. And, I got soured out from the show circuit. If you read my my previous piece, I don't really want to go into that right now. Yeah. But I saw some horse racing, and that was it for me. I was like, wow. I just saw the athleticism of the horses and the jockeys, and I wanted to learn more about it. So I learned how to break babies in Ocala. I broke 2-year-olds for a while. And then I went down to, the former Calder racetrack. It's gone now. I learned how to gallop there, and then I went on to racing. And then I rode in Pennsylvania. I rode in New Jersey. I won my first race in New Jersey at Meadowlands. I rode a couple races in New York, and now I'm here in Ohio. So
that's quite a career, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my name is Laura Kelland-May, and welcome to Equestrian Skill Builders. If you'd like to improve your riding and training, win more ribbons at your next horse show, or generally like other horsey-related stuff, then you are in the right place, because we are going to discuss some of those things here today. I empower riders to go from no direction with their riding to feel more confident, in control, and in harmony with their horses so they can win more ribbons. I'm a competition coach specialist, high performance trained, Equestrian Canada senior judge and steward, and as a live show producer, I can help you create a successful weekly broadcast. Yay, we're live. Yeah, so I've purchased Off the Track horse. They're economical and they're athletes, but what do you really need to know before you get your Off the Track Thoroughbred home?
Okay, so regardless of where you get your horse, whether you adopt it from one of the many amazing and reputable organizations that take horses off the track and retrain them, or if you get one directly from someone on the track, I highly recommend a PPE from a trusted and respected veterinarian to make sure you are aware of any physical issues the horse may have. I recommend asking the trainer about any behavioral issues the horse may have. Does the horse crib? Does it weave? You need to know these things. Just ask. And I recommend talking to anyone on the track if you have the opportunity talk to the exercise rider or the groom, someone who works with the horse. Is there anything I need to know about this horse? What is this horse like? If you have access to that, obviously, and not everybody does, but it's good to be able to get that kind of background on a horse.
Are trainers and jockeys, are they easy to talk with? Like, do they mind talking with people? Will they talk with people if you give them a call or send them an email? Are they pretty open for things like that?
A jockey is not really going to be available for that. They don't really work intimately with the horses every day like an exercise rider does, or the groom who actually works with that horse every day. Right. Oftentimes they knew more than the trainer does about that horse. So I was just throwing that out there, because if you do have access to the backside of the racetrack, or you have access to a trainer, those are really good starting points where you could really learn about the horse in depth, Yeah. Because like a lot of times the organizations, they will know everything about the horse. They'll know a lot before the horse comes in there, so they know what they're working with. So if you are adopting a horse out of the organization, they'll tell you what you need to know. But I was just suggesting that if you do get the horse off the backside from a trainer, it's nice to ask people who have worked with the horse, exclusively and intimately. They really have knowledge of this horse.
Yes, exactly. So I guess that goes for like any horse, and in particular horses that you get off the track. It's like you say, a PPE, a pre-purchase exam. It just lets you know what kind of things you're dealing with, maybe some things that you don't care about or don't mind, or that things that you can deal with, but the deal breakers. So I did an informal survey on a Facebook group and asked the questions. If you wish you would have asked before you got a thoroughbred off the track. Now, would you like to have some fun and do kind of a quick rapid fire question answer thing?
Sure, but I just want to add one more thing.
Okay.
That's really, really important that I missed. And that is, in addition to getting the PPE, should always get your potential horse scoped, because it's like 85% or more of ex-racehorses or racehorses on the racetrack have ulcers. And I think it's very important for you to know how severe the ulcers are. And also, if they also, in addition to gastric ulcers, do they have hindgut ulcers? You need to be aware of that so that you can work with your veterinarian to treat that. Because I think one of the most important things with getting an ex-racehorse is going to be repairing their gut and to establish a healthy gut. So I wanted to throw that out there because that's really, really important.
Yeah. So if they do have ulcers, is that a deal breaker for you, or is that just something that you know that you're going to have to treat and manage when you get them home?
It's not a deal breaker for me, because I know that they can be repaired. It's possible. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of knowledge. You really need to work with your veterinarian, and you need to have a proper nutrition plan in place with the horse. I mean, lots of high quality forage. I mean, hay, grass, to really repair and heal the gut for the horses. And also, it's like 70% of performance horses in general have ulcers. So it's not just exclusive to race horses.
Right.
There's a higher percentage, obviously, but also performance horses, barrel horses, they have ulcers too. So, it's a problem. And
that's a stress, right? That's a stress thing. Or is it the feed management?
Could be grain, stress, so just a combination of things, that could lead to ulcers in horses. So, yeah.
Okay. So I do have the 10-ish questions. Want to do some like quickie things? Okay. So this was from a Facebook group, and I asked them what questions they wish they would have asked before they purchased their horse. What type of grain do they do best on?
I would say it was something with at least 15% fiber, 8% fat, 12% protein. That's what I do. Of course, it depends. What is the horse? What is your intended discipline with the horse? How many calories are they going to use? Do they have ulcers? There's the vast majority, but I like a lot of fiber, at least 15% fiber.
What about beet pulp? I know a lot of people say
beet
pulp. But
absolutely, good. Beet pulp. I love to do beet pulp pellets and give it a really good soak, and then give that to the horse. Some horses don't like beet pulp, but for those, you could do like soy hulls. That helps, but definitely beet pulp. That's
okay. Next question: do they load / trailer?
The vast majority load because, they're used to getting on the trailer and going from track to track if they run, or if they're going from the track to the farm. The vast majority of racehorses know they know their trailer business, and they get right on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have they been outside of an arena, trails?
For the most part, no. There's something like trails up at, like if you get a horse that's been at Saratoga, that racetrack has like a really nice kind of like trail-like atmosphere outside of the actual track. So some of those horses may be exposed to that. Like some steeplechase horses are, familiar with trails, but, in general, no.
In general, no, but they do experience a lot of things that some horses may not experience, like I don't know, like going in the gates, and I know bringing my horse in and out of the paddock, if the metal gate hits the side, he just says, "Okay, big deal, big whoop, nothing, doesn't bother me." So I think there's other things that they do get experienced with.
They're very well versed. They're very skilled at handling
tractors lots things
of
going by, goats and sheep and chickens and blah, blah, blah. There's lots of other things that they are exposed to. Okay, yes. Another question. If there is an off-the-track thoroughbred good for a beginner?
I would say no.
Okay.
Only if you're working with a trainer who has experience and you're working with someone who's knowledgeable, I would say, okay, if you have somebody who has that skill set that can work with you. But if you're new to horses, absolutely not. Just no.
No.
I could go on.
Short answer is no.
But nope.
General
Please
behavior.
Don't.
General behavior. Does the horse have general behavior issues? Weaving, cribbing, biting, kicking.
I think any horse could have those issues, and with a lot of the horses that I've dealt with off the racetrack, they're all individual cases. They all have their own personality. They all have their own set of neuroses, or not. Some come off and they're just amazing. They just
like that word. That's a good word. Okay. So, are they on ulcer treatment? That's a question that this one person said. Are they on ulcer treatment? You mentioned ulcer. Do they win
track? I think that would depend on the trainer and the veterinarian that trainer works with. Not everyone is the same as far as that. So, I have worked at barns where some horses are laid off and they're getting treatments. They're getting their GastroGuard, but not always. That's something that you would have to ask if you're considering a specific horse. Hey, has this horse been treated for ulcers?
Yeah. And with your PPE and veterinary check too. Yeah. Okay. Do they tie?
Some do, some don't. Thoroughbreds, typically, they could be tied in the stall, but that's just like one rope or one tie up. But as far as like cross ties, not really. I think standard breds are used to that, but thoroughbreds, not so much. I've had some thoroughbreds that I've cross tied and they took to it immediately, no reaction. They were fine. Didn't have to work with them on that. And others, after they go bananas. Yep. They don't like the restriction. So it's going slow and feeling out where that horse is and just being really present to their behavior and how they react, and you work with them based on that. So
okay. Great. So I just want to remind people during our live broadcast this morning, we encourage you to ask any questions or put any comments. And if you do have questions or comments, just put them in and If you have a question, we'll certainly try and answer it for you. If you have any comments, we'd love to hear from you. And make sure you give us the thumbs up and like this video so that YouTube and Facebook says that, people are liking this, and share it. If you know someone who should be watching, then please share it. So I do have a friend from my, I do have a question from my friend. I do have a friend, Lindy, who is a racehorse lover and rehabber as well. And she would like to know, I'd love to hear your thoughts, Raina, about downtime when coming off the track. So you get this horse, it's arriving. Should you start it immediately the next day and do its program? Should you give it a few days, a week, 6 months? Do you put it out to pasture and forget about it and then hope that it's, what should you do when you get that thing home?
Okay, so if the PPE comes back clean, and your horse was scoped and it's got mild gastric ulcers or something, first of all, what I love to do is I love 30 days of turnout, free time. I like to let the horse decompress and really find themselves and learn social behaviors and start to understand herd dynamics and things like that. This is, I think that's very important for a horse. I mean, everyone has opinions about it, but I'm going from my own experience and what I've seen. They really blossom when you give them some time off and, they learn how to be a horse. They learn how to socialize.
Learn how to horse. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
On that point, exactly. I just got one this past year and put him out in a group of geldings, and he just had absolutely no idea what ears pinning back meant. He just kind of standing there going, I don't know what that means.
School of hard knocks for that one.
Yeah, exactly. So the poor guy, but I guess that's part of the reason why horses like this get ulcers. It's because they don't have that social interaction that they need. Sorry to interrupt you. But, carry on.
No. I think it does a horse good. They learn. They learn about themselves and they really become self-aware. They just blossom. So, I mean, I understand a lot of people, like organizations and things, they don't have time to get the horse and then give it that kind of time off. I like 30 days. That's what I do. And of course there are exceptions where I had a horse where I had given them the 2 weeks off and they're going bananas in the stall and they need something to do. You are going to have some horses that, all right, a week off is enough for them. They get them in training, give them something to do. They need to focus on something. There are horses like that because at the racetrack, it's very routine. Everything is scheduled. And some horses love that. And then other horses, once you get them off the track and, they need the time off. So I like to do 30 days. That's what I do. I like to treat them for their ulcers and let them learn social behaviors. And let them really find themselves. That's what I do.
Okay. Lindy, thank you so much, Lindy, for the comment. Lindy says, I'm so glad that you mentioned learning her dynamics. It's a process. Yeah. So,
oh my God, it sure is. It's interesting to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. You could, because when that guy's coming at him with the ears pinned back, you're just saying, get away. And they're just standing there going, well, I don't know.
What does he mean?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
What's going on?
Meanwhile,
here?
they've got these things and on the side of now he's got these bite marks along the side of his neck, right? So
yeah, and there is something else that I wanted to talk about is that horses don't really lose their physical fitness and their muscle development so quickly. So even if you did give the horse 30 days, they're not going to lose their fitness that quickly. It's not like us. I mean, we lose fitness quite rapidly, but horses don't. So if that was a concern for someone as to not giving the horse time off, I would say don't worry about their fitness or their muscle loss because they don't lose it that quickly. So.
All right, that's good to know. Because people often worry about that. Well, I gotta make sure that he doesn't lose his muscle tone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Heather Ruth, I was wondering about the ways to ensure soundness. So many leg problems potential. Do they still do pin firing? What a great questions.
Yeah, I have not really seen pin firing as of late. Like in the 90s when I was on the racetrack, it was pretty common, not so much now, which I'm very glad about. So to answer the pin firing question, no. As far as leg soundness, if you had the PPE, you would be aware of if the horse had any tendon issues, any suspensory issues. You should have been made aware of that. Sometimes horses on the track do have injections, so that's another thing you want to ask about. Hey, has this horse had their cycles and hocks done, or has the horse had any injections I need to know about? And they should disclose that willingly to you. And if not, ask who the treating veterinarian was on your horse, and you can get the horse's records. If you're going to be owning it, you say, hey, who is the treating veterinarian on this horse? And you have to, sometimes it is quite a search, like a dig, because sometimes horses go from trainer to trainer. If they get claimed or whatever, they move barns. So you might have to get, multiple records. So I would just first be aware of, has the horse had any conditions prior to when you purchased or adopted it, and then go from there. But as far as, the legs, you should always be working with your veterinarian on that. If you have any concerns with lameness or anything, I would just go to a vet right away, because I'm not a veterinarian, so I couldn't diagnose
exactly.
anything.
So, I mean, there's things that you can probably see yourself, like a splint or those types of things. But I mean, that's the whole purpose of the pre-purchase. Sometimes, though, people do purchase without getting a pre-purchase exam done. They buy off internet or through a friend of a friend who knew of a horse who had somebody and was friends with the trainer, and they want to get this horse a good home. Right. So you get those types of things. So then I guess you're going to have to deal with what you have, just as if you're getting a horse from anybody.
It would still be the same process.
Still be the same process. Yeah. And if you get a horse like that, then get your vet out and do a pre-purchase, post-purchase exam, I guess.
Yeah, just have a general
what you're dealing with, so that you can treat it.
Done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, unless the horse is just going to be a pasture pet, if you do intend to ride the horse and work with the horse in some capacity, you should absolutely have an exam on it. I just think you should have an exam regardless. I don't care who you get the horse from. You need to know where this horse is.
What you're dealing with. Yeah.
You need to know.
Yes or no? Does it have splints? Does it have this? Does it have that? Well, yes or no. And okay, I can deal with that, and I can maintain that, or I can treat that, or I can make it better, or no, it's a deal breaker. I'm not going to deal with that.
Yes.
Right. That's. I mean, for me personally, I think if it's got a splint or something that I can deal with, that's great. But if it's going to kick me every time I go to try to put the saddle on, I'm not sure that I'd want to deal with that type of thing. So, I mean, that's
right. And also a lot of times, like with, as you mentioned, saddling, horses have, back pain, or they could have ulcers. And when you cinch up the girth, that kicking is actually not the horse being bad. It's a result of this freaking hurts. I have pain here. And, people just attribute that bad behavior, and it's not. It's a pain response. So I think a lot of people need to educate themselves, honestly, and really look at that. Like I said, ulcers it's so common, and especially ex-race horses, that a lot of times those bad behaviors are actually a pain response that has been ignored and not treated, and just neglected. So I always look at the horse's physicality first. Why is this horse doing this?
Yeah, exactly. So thanks, Lindy, for this comment. This is great. I tend to do a thorough vet exam once they're finished their rehab downtime and before I start putting them into work. So then you know exactly what you're having to deal with before you start putting them into work. So you certainly give them a chance. As soon as they're home, you give them a chance before you even. Oh, that's great. That's
well, yeah,
really
it sounds like Lindy knows exactly what she's doing, and she's doing right by the horses that come into her care. So,
yeah.
yay, Lindy!
Lindy should have her own program.
Yeah, Lindy's awesome.
Yeah, she sure is. Thank you, Lindy, for that. That's great. Okay, so if you want to get a hold of Raina, we've got her Instagram. There's her Instagram's right there. If you want to follow her on Instagram, that's it. On Facebook, this is one of her businesses that she does, the High Five Equine. And also take a look at this, the drop and slow feeder. That is absolutely amazing. I want to talk, if we have time at the end, that we could talk about this. That is excellent. Also, if you want to follow me, there's my Instagram as well, that you can do that. So I'm going to put the drop and slow feeder into the comments so people can go there and see that. Okay. Excellent. Yay. So with respect to riding and training specifically for your off the track thoroughbred, what are some behavior, conditioning, skills that riders, trainers need to have for, in particular, the off the track thoroughbred?
That's
I'm thinking, you know, what can you do the same things that you do with your cold blood, your perch run thoroughbred cross, or your, there's some differences you have to think about.
It's different because you're training an athlete they're developed as runners. They're racing fit. They have a lean body. And the other thing too is, horses in general are very heavy on the forehand. Race horses in general, like 65% of their weight or so is on the forehand. And so you need to redevelop the body, and you need to assist the horse in their awareness and how to redistribute that weight off of the forehand and shift it to the hind end. You can't do that just, slapping on some draw reins or whatever. Sorry.
A lot of people do that.
It doesn't help.
No.
So what I like to do is, I have like 50 million books here.
Okay, so I'm going to show this book too. This one. Okay, so this gets to one of my questions. Okay, so we kind of scooted that one bucket list item. Okay, so this is from Heather. Thank you, Heather, for emailing me this question. One of my bucket item list is to get an off the track thoroughbred and train them to pre-St. George. And so I mentioned this to you, and so you outlined this book, and it is called something Collection.
A Search for Collection.
A Search for Collection.
And that's by Paul Balasik.
You specifically showed me this because this is a thoroughbred.
Yeah, I believe in his book. Yeah, he mentions a thoroughbred. I think it's St. Grawl. I don't know. You have to look in here. But, he's training this horse for high school movements. I know that's classical training. That's not PSG. But, Levad is incredibly difficult. And this is such a beautiful example of a Levad. And, thoroughbred can do anything. I know
thoroughbreds can do anything. Totally agree.
They can do anything.
Yeah.
I know it's difficult in the higher circuits of dressage. Everyone wants a warm blood, and I'm not going to get into that. But it's probably going to be tough. Having a thoroughbred and getting up to that level, not because your horse isn't capable of it, but it really depends on the judge. So,
Yeah, right.
but
So
yeah,
what type of different skills do you need when you are training the off the track thoroughbred? So I know for sure I was riding my friend's horse. He's got a warm blood, big, giant warm blood, beautiful, lovely mover. And when I was riding it, I was thinking to myself, if I was on a thoroughbred, this thoroughbred would be so upset right now because I've done the same exercise 3 times in a row, and the thoroughbred would have already figured out the exercise and be 3 steps ahead of me. But I was thinking, okay, this horse hasn't figured it out yet because it's a warm blood. So
warm blood people are going to be hating on you right now, but I totally agree. I mean, thoroughbreds
that's one thing that people have to consider when they are riding a thoroughbred is that they get it first or second time around. Though don't keep drilling them.
They're very intuitive. They're very sharp, and in most cases, they're very willing. If there's no like something limiting them physically that's painful to them, they're very willing. And I mean, I love thoroughbreds because they pick it up like that, and I love that about them. I've ridden many other breeds, and I just love them.
So thank you, Allison, for this question. Do you recommend look for any specific bloodlines for hunter jumpers, some like Secretariat line or some other lines that are more to different things? I'm sure that Lindy's got some input on that. She's got her ones that she likes.
So I'm not really involved in hunter jumpers anymore. But I do train, some horses to jump, the very basics. I don't have any particular bloodline because I take what horses come to me. So I'm not really looking at their bloodline. I'm looking for what does this horse like to do? Does this horse like to jump? Does this horse have the ability to compete successfully in low hunters or beyond? So I don't really have a specific bloodline that I could tell you. Maybe people who work more with, specific bloodlines can tell you which ones are better as far as hunter jumpers. But I think if the horse really loves it, I don't think the bloodline would matter so much. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Do they have the athleticism for it, and do they love it?
Yeah. Do you have any ideas about behavior and conditioning for thoroughbreds?
Behavior. Well, every horse is an individual, so I don't really know what to say about that other than to just be aware of how they behave, and you just kind of have to go moment by moment with as far as behavior. I mean, I don't know, there's like specific examples. There's like
that could be its whole program, right?
Yeah, and that's not just thoroughbreds, any horse.
No. So Heather says, so it's more about their conformation and personality than specific lines. That is, if you want a potential dressage horse, pick one with a short back who doesn't want to jump. I guess that goes for any horse, really. I bet there's some nice dressage horses who have longer backs, and it's a generalization, I would guess, but it's confirmation, and there's always an exception to every rule, right? But
exactly, yeah.
I think like their personality and their willingness to be in that discipline. So if would they enjoy that job? Like, do they like that thinking type of job of dressage versus, I don't know, like you go to the other extreme, barrel racing or racing. So
yeah, it's I mean, obviously confirmation is important. But any horse can do dressage. Any horse can be trained, especially, with classical dressage. Any horse can do it. I think every horse should do dressage, really.
Right.
But I mean, I think where people get stuck on oh, this horse doesn't look like a warm blood or doesn't have the right body type is the judging. So that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, does the horse love it? Do they enjoy it? Are you and this horse have a good partnership with each other? Are you guys able to reach the levels that you want to reach? Can this horse bring you there? Can you bring the horse there? There's still like a million different possibilities, but
totally agree. And as far as training goes, as with any horse, take it step by step. And you mentioned the dressage, the dressage training scale, which is the foundation for everything. You start at the basics and work your way through the dressage training scale. And remember to do little bits each day. Don't expect to go out there and have your horse be on the hindquarters and through and all this type of stuff without doing all the homework that you need to do to get your horse there. So we do have something here from Lindy. Thank you, Lindy. I don't have particular favorites, but I've noticed I really enjoy Stormcat lines for athleticism. Old Forester and Giant Causeways tend to have the look and conformation that suits the hunter ring. This
they're
is
gorgeous.
Generalization.
Those are all, well,
exactly.
that is a top-notch bloodlines right there. So yeah, Lindy, I agree with you.
Yeah, should get Lindy on as well. That'd be great. Thank you so much, Lindy. Really appreciate that. So the other thing I think too that matters, Raina, is to believe in your horse, and it's your own personal mindset as well.
Oh yeah.
So if you confidence in yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, how can you
pick it up?
And we had this discussion yesterday. Can a thoroughbred feel what you're thinking, what you're doing?
It's my opinion that thoroughbreds are like one of the most intuitive breeds. They can read you. They can read your energy. You cannot fool these horses. They know what you're feeling, and they know where you're at, and they definitely know, okay, what can I try with this person? What can, not all of them think like that, but certainly they're very, they can assess you very, very well. So, yeah.
Like if you're riding and you're thinking, oh, gee, I wonder what I'm going to make for supper. Boop. I gotcha. No, not today. So how can you tell if a horse isn't a good fit for a person?
Oh, that's a tough question. And that's based on, I've had people come look at horses and that, I've worked with, and they want to adopt the horse. And I'm just like, no. It's just going to be a disaster. I just know now at this point, I can't give any specific, distinctions about that. I just intuitively know. I just see how they interact, and it's a yes or a no, or that possibly they could be good together. But if you're looking at a horse for yourself, I think you should just really take some time and feel it out with that horse. If the horse is going to be too much for you, don't get yourself in that situation, and if you are working with a trainer, like if you're newer to the breed and you have someone you're working with, they'll tell you. Hopefully they'll guide you. So yeah.
Okay, so if people are just joining in, I'm speaking with Raina Paucar. Raina is a lifelong equestrian, retired professional jockey and ex-racehorse enthusiast, and certified in equine massage, PEMF, kinesiotape, and has experience as an equine vet assistant. So we're talking with her today, and let's just carry on here. Yay. Oh, so this broadcast is sponsored by Equestrian Skill Builders. And become a thinking rider. You'll progress faster, ride effectively, and be extraordinary. Get my free mini course called Ride in Harmony and say goodbye to bad rides. I'm going to put the link in the comments here. So stay tuned for that. All right. As far as riding and retraining goes, what's one exercise, like one general exercise that all riders should do with their off the track thoroughbred as part of their rehab program?
Oh, I highly recommend dynamic mobilization exercises.
Okay,
You
so
do
you're
this
going to
on the
have to
ground.
explain what that is. What are
Um,
dynamic mobilization exercises?
Basically, they're carrot stretches, also known as. They assist. Here's the book, actually, by
Just a second. Is that Hillary
Dr.
Clayton?
Hillary Clayton
Yeah.
and Dr. Narelle Stubbs. And I don't even know if this is in print anymore, but if you can get it, this is what I would get and do. This goes for any horse, but especially for ex-race horses, it's highly beneficial. There's mobilization exercises, core strengthening exercises, and balancing exercises. And you can do these every time you go out to the barn to see your horse. It takes literally, 5 to 10 seconds per exercise. So you can have this done in 5 to 10 minutes, maybe less than that. That's one thing I recommend. I do this with every horse that I work with because, without core strength, balance, and stability.
Yes. We're showing them on the screen here. So here's some exercises. Can you can you see that? Can everybody see? Oh, good. I'm hoping that people can see. If you put in the chat there that you could see these exercises. This is from an article I just put in, exercise-based rehab. So, and so these are carrot stretches for horses. You hold a carrot so which ones do you recommend?
All of them.
Okay, so and
I recommend all of them.
Yeah, so you do these with your horses before each ride?
Religiously. I do it before I ride. Sometimes I don't ride that day or I don't do any groundwork with them, and I just do these in the stall. The more you get used to doing it, the more you get in the habit of it, and the more you do it with your horse, the better your horse is going to be, and the better they're going to develop. You're going to notice that when you're, long lining them or whether you're riding them, you're going to see the difference. And I think it's worth it. It's worth it to really invest the time and learn how to do these exercises with your horse, especially your ex-thoroughbred, because you're retraining an athlete. You're responsible for reshaping and reconditioning this horse. And I think these exercises are super beneficial. I've seen a huge difference in the horses. And actually, I learned how to do these at the Animal Rehab Institute, where Dr. Hillary Clayton is a part of. So highly, highly recommend learning how to do these.
Now, so how often do you need to do these exercises, for how long, like the duration, and for how many months, or do you need to do these before you can see a difference in the horse?
Oh, I think you'll start, I see a visual difference, and I can feel a difference in the horse after a couple weeks of doing these exercises, at least 3 times a week. I do them more than that. Every time I go to the barn, I do them. And it takes like 5 to 10 seconds for each exercise. It really takes no time at all. And, don't worry about being perfect doing it. Just start doing them and you and your horse will get better. And, there's a lot of science behind these exercises, and you'll really start to see a difference, especially with the thoroughbred and the neck and, better stability there. It really does develop the core muscles. And like I said, these are very important to do because you want to teach the thoroughbred how to use their body in a different way. It teaches a different type of body awareness. And in doing that, no matter what discipline you go on to do, right, it's just going to benefit the horse. And like I said, you want to teach the horse to get off of the forehand and to learn how to shift the weight off of the forehand. And, you have to, in order to do that, they have to learn how to balance themselves, they have to have the
Well, they have to know where their hindquarters are. Like,
yes.
they've got.
Yep. And if they don't have a strong core, they're not going to get there. You got to develop the core, and then it'll, then you shift back to the hind end.
So I did put the link in the comments here so people can take a look at that article, and we can hopefully have them use that. The other exercise that I know that I do is I do a lot of walking over poles so that they know where their feet are, and they know that there's something behind there as well, that they know where they're, because oftentimes they come to a pole and they go, gee, they're so conditioned just to go that way that they don't realize that there's other things happening. So I do a lot of walking over poles and raised poles because they have to use those muscles that they need to actually lift their legs up higher, that I don't know that they really think about where their feet are.
And hills, inclines,
and hill work,
vital.
yeah.
If you have access to that, or hill work is vital. That's a big part of what I like to do with the horses. Poles, definitely. It teaches, body awareness, and they're using their muscles, and they're thinking. And then, hill work is up the hill and down the hill, because they're learning how to use their body. They're learning how to use that hind end, and it helps, with body conditioning overall. So definitely poles, definitely hill work, and definitely these dynamic mobilization exercises.
Yeah.
And I like to do long lining too. I like to do groundwork.
Right, long lining.
That's what I start with, actually.
So you have a book too that you showed me about your long lining that you do, and I
have I have a couple. So,
and why long lining versus just getting on and walking? Why do you prefer long lining?
So probably I should clarify. So after I give the horse time off, I like to just do some in-hand work. I always do in-hand work before I ride anyways, but I like to, so ex-racehorses, we use a saddle that is like this thin. It weighs nothing. So when you're galloping and you're not really on the horse's back, so one thing you should not be doing is just slapping on a heavy saddle and just getting on the horse. They don't know how to hold your weight. They don't, they don't have the muscles in the back to support your weight in the saddle. When we gallop, we sit, we're sitting on their back when we walk up to the track. Once we start, trotting off with the horse, sometimes we post. Not every rider does. Some people just get up into their half seat and, they gallop on. But for the most part, there's not a lot of weight on the ex-racehorse's back. They don't have the muscle to support you just putting on your heavy dressage saddle or your English saddle, and then you're just going to bounce around on them. It's not fair to them. Don't do that. I like to long line the horse. I like to put the saddle on, and I like to let them feel that weight, get used to that weight. And, I give it a couple weeks, and then I mount the horse. So I know a lot of people don't do it that way, but like I said, I just think it's about fairness to the horse and really understanding where the horse came from and giving the horse the best chance to be successful at whatever you want them to do.
So do they know how to long line? Do you teach? So you teach them. So you teach them how to long line. Somebody leads the horse while you're behind them first, and they figure it out.
Right, thoroughbred.
Just like lunging.
Yeah, standardbreds, that's different stories. Yeah. They know how to do that. But thoroughbreds in general, no. I mean, they're broken around pen. A lot of times they don't really, you have to teach them how to lunge, even if you're using one long line. Thank you, Lindy. Lindy, can we be friends?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I always long line. I mean, you really have to know how to do it. This is a great book. This is Long Reining, and it's by Alphonse Dietz. This is a great little book. it shows you everything you need to know to really learn how to do it. And I wouldn't be afraid of, if you don't really know how to long line, I wouldn't be afraid to try it. So I recommend this book, and I also recommend this book. It's by Richard Hinrichs, and it's called Schooling Horses in Hand.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and then there's one more.
Now, are you getting kickbacks from these authors?
Not at all. No. I get nothing. I get nothing.
Maybe you
these are
should.
just great. They're great resources.
Yeah,
and then, for a little more experience, once you get a little more experience, I recommend this one. It's also by Alphonse Dietz, Training the Horse in Hand.
Training. Okay.
And it says, Iberian principles, but whatever. You can use this for a thoroughbred. It's universal. So those I recommend if you really want to learn how to do it. Like I said, I do this first before I even get on first.
That you mentioned that now that you mentioned it, I never thought of that before, about that the thoroughbreds have never really carried a saddle even on their back. And I mean, I think maybe some saddles probably weigh as much, well, exaggerating, as the jockey and their racing saddle. I mean, jockey and a racing saddle doesn't weigh a whole lot. And then, like you say, putting a Western saddle on even, or a dressage saddle, or even an English saddle, then that's a lot of weight that they're not used to. And I'm wondering if it's attached even differently, or the way that, and plus the legs on the horse's sides, they're not used to that, and the distribution of weight.
Exactly. So that's why I don't do it that way. I mean, I understand a lot of organizations, they don't have time. They get these horses off the track, and, they're doing the best that they can. They don't have time to give the horse a 30-day turnout. They don't have time to really long line. And I don't think a lot of people still even know how to do it, honestly. But hey, they're doing the best they can. But I think the weight distribution is very important to consider, and in fairness to the horse. And also I highly recommend chiropractic or osteopathic work. I'm a body worker, so I do PEMF, I do massage, I do these things for the horse. I think it's very important as you're transitioning them. You have to take care of their bodies. They're athletes. Olympic athletes get massage, they get cup work, they get acupuncture, they get these things. And I think you need to implement this into your training for your horse as well, for so many reasons. But I like to start with groundwork. I like to do the long lining. I like to put the saddle so that they get used to the weight. And then also they learn how to carry it, and then I start to ride the horse. So that's generally how I go. Yeah,
that's excellent. That's really great information. Thank you so much. Now, before we head out, before we wrap up here, I want to share with you that you are, in addition to doing this type of work with the horses, the hands-on stuff, you are also developing and you are an inventor. And I want to share what your latest thing is. If you want to talk a bit about it, that would be wonderful. There.
Oh, my website is embarrassing, but hey.
You know what? It's exactly, and when I saw this, I thought, wow, this is absolutely brilliant, because I know that I have in the past had a horse that just went at its food and choked. And so what do? You do the old horseman thing.
Rocks.
You get some big rocks and you put in there. I thought, well, this is really dumb. My horse is going to bite on a rock and break its tooth, and then I'm going to have a horse with, but I thought, this is absolutely brilliant. Congratulations. Is this a new product for you?
Yes, it's a new product. It took a very long time to develop. I had to learn about patents, prototyping, trademark, everything, and manufacturing. And I went through so many designs. I tested on my own horse. He's He's terrible for bolting grain, and I didn't want to use rocks. They're not really safe. I mean, but what other alternative is there? The other slow feeders didn't really work, for him. So I developed this. This is the final design. It works. He's not able to really scarf down his grain. I don't have to worry about choke. And I tested it on so many horses. So it does work. And I'm excited about it. It took a few years to really develop and design and get it right. So that's where I'm at. And I have the bucket that comes with it.
Where can people find this? Where can people find this? I mean, it's on the market now, and where can they buy it? Can they go to their feed store and buy it?
Not yet. I am in talks with a couple of very large equine retailers to get it, to bring it, into their stores. So we're just in the final stages of finalizing the purchase orders. And this will be available also on Amazon, or you could buy it directly through me. I think for like 14 days, it'll be released with the whole system, with the feeder and the insert and the bucket. Right now, if you just wanted to buy the insert, you could contact me directly, and I'll let you know what feeders this currently fits that are on the market right now. So,
okay, that's where I'm at. Excellent. That's wonderful. And they can contact you via this one?
They can contact me through
through the dropandslowfeeder.com on that website.
Yeah, it's also on Facebook, Drop and Slow. You can message me directly through there.
Okay. So. All right. I'm just trying to see if there's a place where they can contact you via that. Okay. Or on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Great. Well, I just want to wrap things up right now. Raina, thank you so much for taking the time to. Yeah, this has been great. I really love speaking with you. And do you have any final words?
I just want to say to all the thoroughbred lovers who are adopting these horses and taking these horses, I just want to say thank you so much. And I just really love the OTTB community. And I just want to wish everybody the best with their horse. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, concerns, and if nobody can help you with issues you're having with your horse, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help.
Excellent. Well, that's really, really good to know. Thank you so much for offering that. That's wonderful. That's very generous of you as well. I will be sure we'll get you back on again. I mean, I'd love to do a program on women who are inventing these horse things, or horse and products, or animal products. That's wonderful. And so thank you so much for being here today. And I want to invite everybody to become a thinking rider and understand your horse. You'll progress faster, ride effectively, and be extraordinary. Now go use this stuff. Have some guts. Go use this stuff. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a beautiful day.